everybody, it's Mark from Overlook Valley Homestead. We're going to do video number 8 in our series on about cattle, and so you want to own a cow. Alright, well here's some things that you should know, and the last 7 videos have a lot of information in them on things that you would want to know about owning cattle. My opinion, and you know, it's not law or anything like that, it's just my opinion. And everybody has their own opinion, but I'll tell you what has worked for me in my lifetime of owning cows, and what continues to work, and things that I'm learning along the way, even now, after doing cattle so long. I mean, I still learn every day with my cows, and you know, it's just like anything else. The more you do it, the more you learn about it. So anyways, we're going to talk about several different things in this video. This is video number 8, if I didn't say that, but we're going to talk about the treatment of cattle and how to handle your cattle. You're going to need help working your cattle, and I'll explain what that means. Things that you're going to have to buy working your cattle. You're going to have to buy gates, you're going to have to buy round pens, and loading your cattle. And then we're going to get into a little bit of the things that you need to have if you're doing a family cow and you're doing the milking process. So this might be a little bit lengthy video, but I'll try to make it quick as I can. I've been trying to make them all quick as I could, but sometimes I get a little long-winded, I guess. But okay, so let's just get started. I got my notes here so I can remember what I wanted to talk to you about, and so I'll be referring back to them as we go. Okay, your treatment of your cattle. This is something that you're gonna have to learn off the bat if you're gonna have cattle. You cannot be aggressive with cattle. That don't work. Being aggressive with cattle will get you hurt bad, even get you killed. Cattle do not respond good to being aggressive with them. They need a gentle hand. Same as a child. I mean, you need to, it's funny, a lot of these videos I refer to, you treat your cattle like your children, but you know, it's kind of that way. So, I use, here on my farm, I use this. This is a paddle, and it's got these little balls in it. It makes this noise. It's just a little tap, you know. It sounds like more than it is. We'll put a cattle where it needs to be. You do not beat your cattle. That is something that you do not do. You just use this to persuade. Most of the time I never have to touch my cows with this. I'll touch it on the ground. And that's more than enough to tell them, hey, I need to go that way. So, that is, you know, people, you don't beat animals. You know that. You just use it as persuasion. Or the way I was raised, my mom would get a switch off the tree, and that was a good persuasion for me. So it didn't hurt me, but it made me listen. So, anyways, so you're gonna need to handle your cattle with care, I guess is a good way to say that. Cattle will do more for you if you are calm than they will if you are upset. If you're upset, get away from your cattle. Go in your house, cool off. Go do whatever it is you got to do to cool off. I don't care how mad they make you, because I have had some cows that makes me mad. I had one cow that would not stay in the fence. I built a 6-foot pen, and she jumped right over it like it wasn't nothing. And I was really, really upset with that cow. And I had to have some help, and I finally got her loaded, and she went to the stockyard, and hope they made hamburger meat out of her. But anyways, my opinion. You need to be gentle with your cow when you're working. They just need you to lead them, to let them know where you want them to go. This works pretty good. Something that works just as good is feed. The thing about feed is a cow will hurt you if you got feed. If you have a feed bucket in your hand and your cattle do not know, excuse me, that you're in charge, they could hurt you trying to get the feed. Not meaning to, they're just after the feed. They don't care about hurting you, they just want the feed. So very careful about being out in open areas with your cattle with feed buckets. Here on my farm, when I first started doing the cattle, I thought about that. And I used to, at the dairy barn, would take a couple 5-gallon buckets at a time out in the pasture, right out there with the hundreds of cows. Pour it, these cats are gonna be death of me. And pour it down these troughs. And never thought nothing about it. Young man, I could have been hurt bad. I didn't think about it. But later on, as we realized that on the farm, we moved the troughs beside the fence. And we took out a section of the fence where that we could feed directly into the trough, but the trough would also act like a fence to keep the cattle in. That works great. So when I did our farm here, I built a feed area, and I built the fence is 6 foot tall in the feed area, because it's also the area that I use when I load cattle. So I built like a step up and a long bench that you walk down, so that I can pour the feed over the fence without having to be inside the fence with the cows. I did that for me. I did that for my wife, and I done that for my children, because I don't want them in there with feed buckets. If anybody goes in our pasture with feed buckets, it's me. These cows know I'm the boss, but that don't mean anything. If a cow wants something bad enough, they'll do it. So they have a mind of their own, just like anything else. So if you treat them mean, especially bulls, they will retaliate. I mean, if you go out in the pasture and you start beating your bull in the head, he's gonna take care of you. I mean, because you're causing him harm, and rightfully so, because you shouldn't be beating him in the head, right? Same as you would. So that's something to think about. So you handle your cattle gently. The less you arouse your cattle, the better they will work for you. And that leads us into to working the cattle. Cattle need shots. They need shots for different things. They need wormer, because cattle get worms, and you have to worm them yearly. So that's something that you do. So a good way to do that is to run them in the way I do it. I'll tell you how I do it here. I feed, the area where I feed the cows is also the area where I can load the cows, and also the area where the cattle have a hay catch, where I can work the cattle. So I will feed them and close them in the feed pen and run them into the round pen, and take gates in the round pen, and push them around into the loading pen, where they can be put in the head catch, so that I can, a head catch is just nothing more than a couple bars. When they stick their head through, it closes on their neck loosely, but it holds them there so that they won't go anywhere else until you open it up and let them back out in pasture. And that gives you it's a small area, like a walkway, fenced on both sides with a wooden fence. You only want a wooden or steel. You want something very strong for your head catch. Mine is wooden, and they do make some very nice metal ones. I just that's above what I can afford, so I had to do what I had to do here. But you want to work your cattle and be able to give them the vaccines that they need, that keeps them healthy. To put their ear tags in, if you put tags in your ears of your cattle, to check a cow if she seems like something's wrong with her. If you need to maybe check her feet or something and see if maybe you got one's got a limp, you want to check its feet. That holds them still while you check their feet. Many different things that you use that for. and that's called working cattle. You work through all your cattle, and each one of them, you know, is got the vitamins, the shots, whatever it is that they need. So, which brings me to another point is when you work cattle, you're gonna need help doing that. Yes, you can do it by yourself, but it is very hard to do it by yourself. Sometimes you need somebody to work the levers on the head catch, and you need somebody behind at the round pen to work the gates to push them up in the head catch, and so it's better to have more than one person, 2 or 3, whatever you can get. And not only that, if you're working your cattle alone and something does happen and you get hurt, if you're by yourself, nobody knows. According to how bad you get hurt, you could lay there all day, or you could die because there's nobody to help you. So it's it's silly cats. So it's something that you want to, you want to take precaution. You want to be as safe as you can when you're working your cattle, and you want to have a buddy system, and you want to get a game plan when you work your cattle. You want everybody to know how it's going to work, so that the cows don't get upset or anything. You want to keep your cows docile, or whatever the word is. You just want to keep them calm, and so that's another thing, another part. You're gonna need some help to do cattle. Now, if you have one cow, it may not be so bad, but if you have multiple cows, you're probably gonna need some help to work on. Let's see. Okay, now to work your cattle, there's things on your farm that you're gonna have to have. I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but you're gonna need multiple gates on your farm. You're gonna need, of course, gates to go in and out of your pasture. Gates for your barn to keep the cows out when you don't want them in there, or in when you want them in there. Gates for your feedlot, gates for your separate pastures. So you need multiple gates on your farm. You're gonna need, you don't have to have it, but it's a really good thing to have. You need to work towards getting it if you have multiple cows. Is a round pen, which what that does is your cows go into an alleyway to go into your head catch, and it's kind of like a funnel, and there's a gate on it, and the tighter you close the gate, the smaller the funnel gets, and funnels them into the walkway that goes to the head catch. That's a very, very good idea. Whoever came up with that was a good idea. That really helps, because I remember back when I was young that I don't remember having the round pen gates, and they would go into the walkway to go to the head catch, and then they'd back up and come out. Well, if you got the gate behind them and you pushed them in there, they can't come back out there anymore. So that's something that you're gonna need on your farm. You're gonna need a round pen, maybe, or something, some fence panels or something you can make a round pen out of quickly. If you have a cow down out in the pasture and you want to keep the other cows away from it, you're gonna need some kind of barrier to put around that cow if you can't move it. So that's something that you need to keep on hand. Me personally, I just use some fence panels. It's not a problem for me to drive 4 T-posts right quick and put up 4 fence panels, and we're done, and that works for us. Maybe one day we'll get around it. That's what we got for right now. So we do things as we can, and buy what we can as we can afford. So that is something else. Loading your cattle. You're gonna need a way of loading your cattle, which an alleyway with a ramp is a good way to load cattle. I load my cattle straight out of the head catch. That works good. I use the same alleyway, open the head catch and back my trailer right up to it, and I'd run them down the alleyway right into the trailer. So that works good for me. That may not be what works for you, but that's what works for me. I considered putting an alleyway in here and opening up this end wall here with a ramp into the trailer. Maybe later on one of these days I may do something like that. I don't know. But as for now, what I'm doing works. So, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's see. Okay, that's a whole lot to do with all that. Now I wanted to touch on something else that I didn't want to have to make another video, but I did think something else that I didn't have wrote down while I was out here doing these videos, and I think it's something that I should include. But I'm trying to keep it to a 10-part video, so I'm just gonna go ahead and include it in this one. So you can, maybe this will be like 2 videos in one, a bonus or something, if you will. Okay, you're a homesteader and you want a family milk cow. You're gonna get 1 cow. You have some decisions to make. You're gonna want to decide where you're gonna milk that cow at, how you're gonna milk that cow, and you know, you're gonna have to learn a routine, a daily routine that cannot change. It has to be that way the whole time. It does that the whole milking season, and then you get a break during the off season while they're getting ready to calve. And then when you start it back up again, you do the same routine. Or if you need to change your routine, that is when you change it. If you need to, you know, change your milking time or whatever. There are things you're gonna need. If you're gonna milk by hand, which can be done, over time is very rough on your hands, okay? I choose not to do it by hand. But if I didn't have any other way to do it, and that's how we had to do it, I would, and I can, and I have. So, but I choose to use a milk pump and a milk bucket, where it's done by suction to milk our cows. It seems to be the best way for us. I knew when Sarah wanted to start milking a cow that I was not going to be milking a cow by hand. There's nothing wrong with that, but my hands can't hold up for that, not anymore. I mean, I've used these hands a lot in my life, and they just probably don't have it in them anymore. So that's a purchase that you're going to have to make. You might be lucky to find used ones, but that's a very expensive part. If you get into a vacuum system, a pulsating system to milk your cows, that's not cheap. It's not cheap to start with. Now, I know you can get on eBay and Amazon and a few other places, and you can buy the whole setup. I think you can probably buy the whole thing, probably somewhere $500 to $1,000, something like that. Maybe, I ain't sure on that, but I was fortunate enough. I was able to buy a milk barn pump, which is way more pump than I need to milk just 1 cow. Our pump is a surge pump. They don't make them anymore, but they're iron horses, and they will last forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So I was fortunate to be able to get a hold of one of those. And if you look around at old dairy barns, you may be able to get yourself one too. Lots of dairy barns had a couple because they always wanted to back up just in case something happened. So, you know, that may be something that you want to look into. Ours is up here, and I guess you probably can't see that, but anyways, I've got it up in the attic up there, up in the loft of the barn. And so that's one thing you're gonna need. Next thing you're gonna need is the milker bucket. You're gonna need a bucket with the actual milkers on it. And I'm sure you've seen them in our video, but give me just a second and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I didn't bring the whole thing out here because Sarah's got it put up for the winter because we're not using it right now. We're not milking the cow, but I just brought a few parts to give you a general idea. There's lots of hoses and pulsators and stuff that goes with it. This is our milk bucket. This is a 7-gallon bucket, stainless steel, holds the milk on the inside, and it has a lid that goes on it with hoses and stuff that goes to it, which goes to the milker. Now, typically for milking cows, this is what you use. It has 4 milkers. You milk all 4 quarters at one time. I know there are people out there who use a different setup that only milks 2 at a time. That's okay. That's typically for goat milking, but it will work for cattle. It just takes you longer. You have to milk one side and then milk the other side. This will do all 4 quarters at the same time. So this is what I prefer. This is what we used on the dairy farm, and this is what I like. So this is what I bought. You can buy this setup, the bucket with the milker, the hoses. You can buy them off eBay for somewhere around $150 to $200, and they work very good. But in order to have a setup like that that milks all 4 quarters at the same time, you have to have a big pump. So they do sell some big pumps on eBay, and they're expensive. So fortunately, like I said, I can run 3 of these at the same time with the pump I have. Lots of the pumps that you get off the internet will only run 1 milker at a time. So I'm just throwing that out there so you know that that's some more expense if you want to own a cow, or if you want to own a family milk cow. And you don't have to have this expense. You can do it by hand, but it takes way longer. The cow you can stand there and milk your cow, say 15 minutes or however long it takes you to milk it out by hand, and almost be done, and the cow might kick and turn your bucket of milk over. If you ain't got a quick hand to get that bucket out before that cow kicks it, you lost all your work for that day. With this, as soon as the milk comes out of the teats, it goes down the hose into the bucket, which is away from the cow. So even if the cow kicks the milker part off, the milk's already in the bucket. And then you also have, when you're using a bucket underneath the cow, things can get in it because it's open. This is closed. I won't say things can't get in it, because if a cow kicks and it comes off, of course it can fall and suck something up in it because it's a suction. But it's a greater chance of getting something in it when it's in an open bucket. So just wanted to include that in this video so that you would have some knowledge about that. And we have videos on milking our family cow. There's several on there. If you want to go back and watch those, that may be of something that's of interest to you. How we set up our area where we milk our cow, and that's another expense. That's something else you got to think about if you're going to build it with gates, or if you're going to build it off the floor, or however you're going to do it. That's something else you got to think about. You got to have a place for that. So lots of many variables in owning cattle, which goes all the way back to my very first video of why do you want cows? What is your purpose for having cows? So just some more things to think about. We should have about 2 more videos in this series, so I hope you're looking forward to seeing those. I hope this is helping you, and if you have any comments or suggestions, leave them down below, and I'll try to get back to you on them. And thank you so much for coming to Overlook Valley Homestead, and God bless you.